I appreciate it. So as Igor said, I'm Miriam Larson, and I am an instructional designer here at the Online Learning and Academic Programs Department. But I've also been teaching graduate classes since 2008 in Mitsu's, our second speakers department, and for the instructional technology program. And so this is a continuing area of interest to me in preparing instructional designers for career environments across the spectrum. So this information that I'm giving today is basically based on some research that I did with a colleague, Barbara Locke at Virginia Tech recently. And I've included at the end of the last slide, I've included a link to that book chapter that's coming out in March, I think it is. And that, if you're interested in having some more information on what I'm going to share today. Since my interests are on preparing instructional designers for these different career environments, our instructional designers are employed across the career spectrum, and I've noticed that they're very often, they can be so very well prepared, but the essential area of soft skills, if they're not prepared in that, they can bomb terribly. So let me share real quick. The questions that I'm going to address today are: what are these soft skills and competencies? What soft skills and competencies should we be teaching students? And what methods are used to foster these soft skills? And I want to be sure to have you all share also in this, either in the chat, or I also have a Padlet that I'm going to share later on that I'd like you to give your experiences in this area. So just for a little bit of context and background, these figures are from LinkedIn Learning, but they also are supported across reports and trends in other areas as well. In 2020 Talent Trends, Global Talent Trends report, 92% of professionals that are hiring cite soft skills is more important than hard skills. And in the 2021 Workplace Learning report of theirs, 59% of US human resources managers have placed soft skills at the top of their education priorities, because they are saying the reason being that they are having difficulty finding candidates with the right soft skills. So let's back up just a minute though and talk about some definitions, because the definition for soft skills varies across career environments. Hard skills and soft skills first off. So hard skills are basically defined in most career environments as the technical skills that are required for people to operate effectively in their careers. And in my field, which is a design field, it's basically things like programming skills, tool proficiencies, multimedia production skills, implementation logistics, and the ability to set up and optimize technology systems. Soft skills, on the other hand, are very widely across career environments. And in my field, there are specific ones like analysis and design and evaluation, and the ability to solve ill-structured and well-structured problems, and other cognitive skills related to that. And a lot of these are the same in other design fields, but it also includes this additional category of interpersonal soft skills. And these are the skills that are in demand, not just in my field or the design fields, but across the entire job landscape. Let's take a look though, real quick, at how much these vary in other fields. Let me see if we can make sure that I can show this so that you can see this. You all seeing the website I've pulled up? Yeah? Yeah? Okay,
yes.
Good. All right, so this is just the website for the Center for Industrial Studies here at UT, which is part of the Institute for Public Service, and they list under soft skills, they provide services to businesses and communities and training and technical support and everything, but they list on their site a real broad range of soft skills, from behaviors and attitudes to attributes, different talents and abilities. As you can see, there's just a ton of different things that they have listed in under this category. in my field and across the design fields, because that's what we looked at basically as far as the literature was concerned, these were the top skills. Collaboration and teamwork. Whoops, somehow it went on its own without me clicking it. Collaboration and teamwork, communication, metacognition and reflection for the purposes of continuous improvement, negotiation skills, and relationship and conflict management skills. If you'll take just a minute, and I will put the URL into the chat as well, but if you want to use the QR code here to the Padlet and go ahead and fill in what soft skills are important for your graduates and whether or not you are actually right now teaching those. And we'll take a look at that at the end of the session here real quick. So what methods are being used across disciplines? People in all the different design fields, as well as other fields, use case-based instruction. They also use coursework and interdisciplinary experiences and professional development opportunities. They use design studio experiences, which if you're not in one of the design fields, is sort of this intensive development and rapid prototyping experience where students, in fact, in the area of architecture, a lot of times they live in the design studio during this experience. I see Ben shaking his head. Yes, that's really, really true. And then there are also more and more entrepreneurship programs and consulting experiences that are being used in programs to teach the soft skills, or they're not necessarily for the sole purpose of teaching soft skills, but very often that is a byproduct, or they plan that in to be able for students to experience that. They also, places will engage in creating these communities of practice. And there's a whole field on learning from design failures, a lot of good work by Tawfik out there on that. And then also incorporating real world projects and service learning projects. And of course, last but not least, internships and apprenticeships and mentoring opportunities. So to give you an idea of a specific one that we've got here at UT, it's just one example, basically. So the Office of Information Technology, OIT, offers various assistantships that are frequently filled by students in our IT program in EdSci. And basically, Jean Durko, the Associate CIO and Executive Director there, said, the Office of Information Technology is proud to offer graduate assistantships. These positions have been part of OIT culture for my entire career at the University of Tennessee, which is approaching 25 years. They serve to offer real-world experience for our students, as well as mentoring opportunities for our staff. Together, we operate more efficiently, and it's truly a win-win scenario. So these assistantships have the opportunities to work in that community of practice there at OIT. And it allows novices to learn how to design and develop things. I'll highlight the experience of just one specific student that I worked with, Kosi Lunga, and some of you may know her. She actually had an opportunity to do an internship contract job for the Center for E-Learning at Florida State University, or college at Jacksonville, Florida. And Florida State College recommended that she have a home institute mentor to ensure that she would gain something from the work that she was really interested in and met her educational goals. So I had Kosi, one of the areas that Kosi talked about was working with subject matter experts, which is a big part of our work as instructional designers. I had her kind of think through her skill set and identify those things in particular that she wanted to work on. And she and I discussed and identified some strategies for her SME meetings, her subject matter expert meetings. And then I made sure I invited her in on some of my meetings and in an attempt to kind of make the tacit sort of information that I have in my head that's not explicitly stated, to help that come out and help her be able to experience some of that. And she indicated later on that this had been just a really wonderful experience for her in a way that she was able to develop a rapport with SMEs and ask questions in a way that wasn't condescending or offensive, but then also be honest about her own design experiences and be open to feedback and also to listen carefully to people. So our department, OLAP, also mentors GAs, and we are looking to, as we expand our opportunities here, we're going to also offer more of those in the future. So let's take just a quick look at some of those comments. See here that we received, and I'm going to have to go backwards here real quick to get to the QR code. No, hold on. I think maybe I better stop and just ask about questions first. And to also say that one of the things that's real important is to ensure that students are sensitized to what they do know and they don't know, and they can do and they can't. And so very often I'll have them fill out a soft skills inventory, and I've got some links here. And again, I'll put that into the chat. I've got some links here for some inventories that you can actually customize for your own use for your students if you don't already have one. But what that tends to do then is to help students to realize that they need to what they need to work on, and what might be an area that they can ask advisors on how to get some of those experiences to work on those skills. So I've got those in the chat here and everything. Let me just real quick stop sharing to get to the link here. All right, and while I'm searching back here for this, are there any questions at this point on anything that I've covered at all, or any would anyone like to share some of the things that they personally do in their programs to foster soft skills? Anybody doing some soft skills training in their departments? Put that Padlet link in there again in case anybody would like to share that way rather than the other. And I'll share real quick to show you what we have so far in there. So some people put analysis, introspection and critical self-reflection, empathy, which there's a lot in the design fields on empathy maps, things like that, active listening, flexibility, resilience. So those were additional to the ones that I shared that are predominant in the literature. So thank you all very much. And I will stop now to make sure that Mitzi's got plenty of time to share.
Miriam, can I ask a question?
Certainly.
And maybe some of the resources that you provided link to that more. I'm wondering if you could talk about the role that reflection plays, because I think soft skills is it's kind of a buzzy term. Like there's awareness about it, and I'm wondering if in your research, if you've seen, are students comfortable speaking to those types of qualities that perhaps they've cultivated, or are they even aware of those types of skills that they have, and how do we help them express that to make themselves competitive applicants for positions?
Exactly. That's a really good question, Josh. And part of what I was talking about as far as like the skills inventory, it's a self-inventory, and it's got just statements. I do this, I do that, to make them aware of what's the range of skill level for different communication skills or teamwork skills or things like that. And I encourage my students to take that, initially, and then as we go through some of the exercises and some of the specifics about how to improve their teamwork skills and things like that, I try to point out that those in fact are that type of soft skill. And I periodically ask them to retake those skills inventories and reflect on what they still, like a professional development plan. So, what do you think you have handled, and what do you think is you're not doing so well on? One of the course that I teach is very highly project based, and they work in teams. So I also have them do anonymous feedback on each other and their skills, their teamwork skills and things like that. So that can also be a wake-up call if they think they've got something handled and they actually don't, that sort of thing. Did that address your question, Josh?
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Okay, thank you all so much.
I can have a quick comment, Miriam. I was reading somewhere earlier this week that soft skills are kind of workforce skills, right? And then the emphasis on soft skills kind of results in improved career outcomes for students. And there was even a research where the UPCA conducted, I mean, it was funded, and they studied how soft skills were incorporated in an undergraduate program, and then the outcomes, and they measured the outcomes. And I can stick the link to the report in the chat. But it was fascinating to see how, incorporating soft skills in the curriculum really results in improved career outcomes for students.
Thanks for sharing that, Igor, and thanks for sharing the link too in the chat. That's so true. And in particular, our international students really need help on this. And I was talking with some students the other day. They struggle just with basic communication. And so when it comes to recognizing some of the more less obvious challenges in communicating with others, they don't read those clues as well as a person who's operating in their own native culture. And so making this more explicit and is really important particularly for those students. So thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome, Miriam, and thank you for sharing your your experience with us today. So now I'm going to hand it over to.
It looks like Marianne has a question also.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just thinking, at least in our department, I think in a lot of others, the graduate students mostly work with their research advisors. And so I think maybe giving more guidance to research advisors to point the graduate students to these inventories, and also to be aware of themselves, the advisors, that these things exist would be important, because they don't take so many structured classes. They work with their research advisors on a lot of projects, and that's where I think help could come from.
I think that's a very good point, Marianne. And I think too that sometimes we don't, especially for research positions and graduate positions, we don't always advertise those kinds. Very often, you'll hear from industry. If your graduates are being employed in industry, you'll hear from them what they need and what they're not getting in their students. But you don't always hear from other institutions that are hiring your postdoc grads and everything as to the type of skills they're looking for. And I think that's a very good point, that trying to determine that and then mentoring the mentors is real important. Thanks.